Hello and welcome to another TNC Opposition preview. Today, it brings me great pleasure to introduce you all to the incredible Dan Fudge. Dan, how are things with you?
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. Nice weather we're having, so, and giving up on football like I have done the last couple of weeks, it's not too bad.
I was going to say, they're doing really well for you, but not so much for your football team, which we'll get onto immediately, actually, because the first thing I'm going to ask you is, talk me through the last game, a 3-0 loss to Reading. What were your main frustrations around that result?
It's weird, actually. So we've had Darren Moore in charge for 2 games. And the first game was against Rotherham, and we lost in the 97th minute. You know, we went for it. We put 7 strikers on the pitch, I think, at one point towards the last 10. It was just a case of going for it and losing. With Reading, it was an absolute girly wet dribble of a game. You know what I mean? I've never in my life just seen Sheffield Wednesday just roll over and take one for the team like they did. It was absolutely incredible. And I think that's the main chagrin of the fans right now. The issue that there is no real drive, there is no real desire anymore. Everybody's resigned to League One, and that's what happened. And that's how we ended up losing to 3-0 to Reading and conceding against one of our old strikers in Lucas Yao, who seems to be having the season of his life right now.
Do you seriously? I'm a bit taken back by that. Are you actually genuinely saying players are giving up League One?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think you need to look further than the appointment of the manager. So, for example, we started the season with Gary Monk and his Year 8 haircut. Then we went to the dinosaur Tony Pulis, who's never been relegated. Yeah, I mean, apparently everybody mentioned that every 5 minutes. Never been relegated, Tony Pulis. Oh, I've never heard that. Thanks very much. And that was archaic and an absolute mess of an appointment. He shouldn't have got it in the first time, in the first time round. To stay there for 10 days, fine, see you later. Then Neil Thompson gave us a glimmer of hope in winning a couple of games like Bournemouth. Not a bad result, great. And then we lost 5 on the bounce. Then we got a new manager in Darren Moore. Now, Darren Moore is an interesting appointment. We were all waxing lyrical about it. Look how great we are. We've got Darren Moore. We've managed to steal him from our local neighbours. Lol, 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 lol. But, he's a League One manager. It's just preparing for relegation. So I don't understand how to get somebody out of the league we're destined to go down to, unless we have a massive upturn in fortunes, is going to galvanise a bunch of players who in their head believe that they are entitled to championship football.
Am I right in saying as well, Dan, that you've got a hell of a lot of injuries going into this game against Norwich?
We've got a couple, but given the way we've been playing, I don't care. Let's get some young lads in.
I read there were 6 injuries. That's not correct then.
Could well be. We've got Julian Berner. He's suspended after getting sent off for the the 70 million sending off we've had this season. I think Adam Reach is had his head turned, I believe, today. He's been linked with Cardiff and Watford. And then, yes, we have players like Che Dunkley, Dominic Iorfa. Our centre-backs have taken a bit of a kicking in terms of fitness. So, yeah, we do have a few out after having listed all that lot. So yeah, we probably do have 6.
Interesting. Obviously, you are currently in 23rd, 7 points away from getting out of the relegation zone. If you were to summarise your season so far in 3 words, what would they be?
Complete utter shambles.
Sorry.
It's a weird one because, we started the season with a minus 12-point deficit. And, we were all over Twitter going, let's just dig deep. Let's get it, lads. Come on, we can do this. And then we got 6 points back the day after Gary Monk got sacked, or the day before we announced Tony Pulis, I forget which. And then we thought, all right, 6 points back. Brilliant. And then now we're in a position where we've lost something like 6 on the bounce. We've won 1 game in the last 8. And now we're all sat there waiting for relegation to come up and sweep us up. And the worst bit is, the heartbreaking bit is the bit that the 6-point deficit, as it stands right now, is irrelevant. It makes no difference. It makes, put the 6 points back on. We're still where we are.
Wow. I love the passion. And I really empathise with you because, of course, Norwich felt the pain of going down to League One under Norwich City legend joined the club at the last minute to try and help us survive in Gunny, and unfortunately that went terribly wrong. So I do really empathise and actually genuinely understand the pain that you're going through. Who is to be blamed, not just for the last 6 games, because obviously you've lost the last 6, but who is to be blamed in general at Sheffield Wednesday right now? Because although the players have handed in the towel, to me it sounds like you're chopping and changing manager every other week. What is the issue at Sheffield Wednesday?
If I take a dramatic pause right now, and all of the other Sheffield Wednesday fans right now will be screaming at the screen, the chairman, the chairman, the chairman.
Okay.
The book stops with this guy. So back in 2015, we had Dave Ponchansiri come in, and he is to the tuna industry what Captain Birdseye is to the haddock industry. You know what I mean? He is John West. He came in with his tuna dollars, started signing checks left, right, and centre. This is great. And then we got the playoff final. We're 90 minutes away from the Premier League. And then the following, we didn't make it. And then the following year, we got to the playoff final, and that was a tactical error. We should have played to beat Huddersfield in the first leg, and we didn't. We drew 0-0, and then it was 1-1 and lost in penalties. Since then, it's been an absolute mess. We are the epitome of one of those clubs that's gone for it and failed. Like your Derbys, your Nottingham Forest, your Birminghams, you know what I mean? All those clubs that are queuing up to try and get in the Premier League that haven't. And you're probably not bemoaning it being Norwich fans, but, the parachute payment debacle is a farce. As it stands right now for Norwich, done really well. But we've had the issue of where we have money, our chairman is loaded, but we can't spend it, which is because of the FFP rules, which I agree are in place, but they're old, they're archaic, as is the parachute payment issue. So we haven't been able to even buy success. We can't do it. And the chairman thought that he could.
I agree with your observations. For Norwich City, it's different because we are a self-funded club and Delia's down to her last peanuts. So it wouldn't be accurate to say we bought promotion when we get there.
No, I think, but this time round where you are in the league, you've gone down and come back up.
Yeah, I get that. And actually, you've spoken there about the club's a mess. And normally the question that I ask opposition fans, Dan, is who should Norwich be fearful of? But is there anyone in that Sheffield Wednesday team that Norwich should be fearful of?
Well, it's interesting because our best players are terrible. Do you know what I mean? That's the interesting bit. So, for example, when somebody thinks of Sheffield Wednesday in our league, they will think, right, who they've got. Like an opposing fan would go, oh, they've got Timu Pukki. You know what I mean? So we would go, well, Barry Bannon's not too bad, is he? So Barry Bannon's an interesting one. For some reason, he plays a deep line midfield role alongside a defensive midfielder. Now, what that means is that we've got 2 defensive midfielders, and one of them's creative and one of them just smashes people. But the smasher isn't doing the smashing, and what Barry's doing is going too deep, separating the defence, and then it's not like he's a massive tall guy that's going to head it out and clear the lines. Right. So, I don't know why we don't play him behind the striker. I don't know. But however, he is a very gifted technical footballer, a very good footballer. Obviously, you remember Adam Reach having a goal of the month competition with himself about 2 or 3 years ago. He seems to have gone to absolute bobbins. So by the sounds of it, it looks like he's going on a free at the end of the season. An interesting one that might be an issue is Callum Patterson, who isn't a footballer by any stretch of the imagination. He's literally a 6'3" telegraph pole that for some reason barges and kicks and smashes. And, I think if I changed the vowels around, he'd be what's known in football circles as a shot house.
Mate, honestly, this is the most passionate opposition preview we've ever had. I think I know your answer. A Wednesday going down?
I believe it's going to take a massive turnaround in fortunes to keep us up. I have an empathy with Darren Moore, the fact that, 2 of his first 3 fixtures are Norwich and Reading. But when your first one's against Rotherham, well, what's the point? You know what I mean? We can't even beat Rotherham. What makes you think we're going to beat Norwich and Reading?
Wow. I mean, okay. But I can't argue with that, Dan. I can't. to then go to your opinions on Norwich. What do you think as a Wednesday fan? What do you think of Norwich as a club, and do you think that Norwich will go on to win the league this season?
Absolutely. I think the parachute payments this time round have had a lot to do with it. You managed to retain a good amount of players, and sometimes it can be beneficial going down and going back up in order to try and make sure you get in that second season, and then look at Sheffield United, even try and go for a third, because the gulf between the mid-table teams and the teams that are just getting promoted to the Premier League is quite vast. I think getting the TV deals and the money that comes in and the financials that come with getting to the Premier League will be really helpful for Delia. Not that don't let me diminish the achievements of Daniel Farke when he took you up the first time round. Yes, when he speaks, it is hilarious, but he does know what he's talking about. And and then to pull somebody as obscure as Pookie out of where he was playing and throw him in, and all of a sudden he's a championship superstar, is amazing. That's great. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you get promoted, you will be in a better financial state to stay up than what you were the first time you went up.
100%, mate. And thanks for the compliments. And can we just take a moment very quickly to just laugh at Sheffield United? Maybe that'll lift your spirits.
It don't make me feel any better. It was hilarious when we were toying with getting out of the relegation zone. Now we're not. It makes me feel no better. It's like that bit in Terminator 2 where Arnold's sinking in the lava going, ha, 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 we won. Well, you're still dead. Like...
Oh dear, mate. Lineup wise, Sheffield Wednesday, what are Norwich City going to be faced with? Like roughly, what sort of formation will you play? What sort of key personnel are going to be starting against Norwich City on Sunday?
It's interesting because recently we've flitted between 4-4-2 and 5-2-3, as it were. But I don't know what players are available anymore. It seems to be something new every week. It seems to be a new challenge every week. But the mainstays tend to be Barry Bannon in the middle of the park. And if it's through some managers, or every ball goes through him, or if it's through Tony Pulis, he gets neck ache watching it go over his head. And then sometimes we have Callum Patterson absolutely stonewall barging his way through life. Or do we have Dean Windurst's son Josh running around and trying to cause a bit of pain? Who on his day can be very lethal, but on another day can be absolute bobbins.
Okay, and actually that leads me nicely on, actually, speaking of Windurst, because the last time we played you guys, of course, was in December 2020 at Carrow Road. We did dominate possession, but you guys made a real good go of it that day. You guys actually broke the deadlock in the 60th minute through Windurst, and then it was a late surge from Norwich City through Josh Martin, the youngster, and then just that bit of Premier League class from Max Aarons in the 84th minute to go on to win that game 2-1. What do you remember of that game, Dan? And at that stage, did you come away from that feeling relatively optimistic? Because Norwich were and still are promotion favourites at that stage, right?
Yeah, I still believe back then that we were still in a false position, and the only reason we were down in relegation was because the point deduction. Yeah. And at that point you think, okay, 2-1 loss in the last minute, that's a decent showing from the lads. I can stomach that. Let's move on to the next week. Let them go. Let Norwich get out of this bloody league. Fine. You know what I mean? I don't want to play them every week. Sod them. But it's a weird one because we didn't seem to get any better. There was no kick on. Like, if you look at the prior season to that, Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday over the years have had some absolute ding-dong battles. You smashing us 5-0, we beat you 3-0, 5-0, or you know what I mean? There's been absolute some goal fests between our two clubs. And in more recent history, Norwich have had the better of those. Because we just seem to be limping through life. The players have given up. And then, we thought we got a leader in Darren Moore. But if the first two games are anything to go on, this is going to be an absolute kicking.
What I say, Dan, is you can polish a turd, but you can't polish diarrhea. Is that the situation at Wednesday?
Yeah. There's an element of that. It's like bringing a fart to a pool fight.
And I've actually lost my composure in this, Dan, now. What you speak about the games that we've had over the years. We've had some serious battles, and one of the ones that I remember fondly for obvious reasons is the 2-2 back in 2019 in that promotion season. It was the Forestieri absolute wonder goal. And that was where Carrow Road stood still. And we were just, in fact, I think it was one of the only times at Carrow Road I've ever actually applauded an opposition goal. It was that one.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It was that one. It was Suarez from just over the halfway line as well. That was an applause from me. Forestieri's goal that day was world class in my humble opinion. And then, of course, it took Norwich until literally the 90-plus 7th minute for the Bosnian Beckham, aka Mario Vrancic, to score a free kick. You mentioned about the clubs and who's won and lost the most games. Head to head, actually Wednesday are on top in total. Norwich City have won 18 games compared to Sheffield Wednesday's 24 and 16 draws. So something is obviously going to happen this weekend. It is time to get your score prediction, Dan. What does your head say and what does your heart say?
My heart, the best I can ask for is a draw. Do you know what I mean? If we absolutely just cancel it out, 0-0 draw, I'd go, brilliant, that's great. That, my head thinks we're going to get spanked 3 or 4-0.
Okay. Only 3 or 4?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Why not? I think the best example is we have this betting app called Wednesday Bet, or Wednesday Picks it's called now. Yeah, and you go on there and it says, how many goals will Sheffield Wednesday score? Will Sheffield Wednesday score in the first half? And you go, yeah, no. And it now tells you a percentage of what. So I think the first question is, will Sheffield Wednesday beat Norwich? 87% of people have said no. Will Sheffield Wednesday score? 94% of people have said no. And even the Wednesday fans aren't very optimistic about it anymore. It's painful to be around. And because our fan base is so subscribed to the team, it can be very toxic at times. And, when it's not going our way when we're at home, God, it's bloody awful.
Dan, thanks so much for coming on today. And I must urge the TNC subscribers, go and give Dan a follow on Twitter and tweet him and cheer him up, because we've been through relegation. So do give Dan a follow and cheer him up. Dan, thanks so much for coming on today, mate. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much to all of you for watching another opposition preview on Talk Norwich City. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will be back for the watch along on Sunday at 12 o'clock for alternative commentary throughout the game. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully the next time I see you will be an easy. And here's my score prediction: Sheffield Wednesday 0, Norwich City 5. Goodbye.